Today, I'm leading the show with a conversation with Nigeria's former Minister for Youth and Sport Development, who is also a lawyer, and I dare say a comrade of the people. I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources, Mr. Solomon Dalong. My brother, good to see you again.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, my brother, and the good works you are doing for Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was watching the video of the Ibadan summit and also the last World Press Conference that ADC addressed, and I saw how enthusiastic you were. You know, I think you've taken this opposition thing as a very serious battle that has to be fought. And I was reading your comments in a recent interview that you had with the Whistler newspaper, where you said that the opposition is ready for a fight. Please tell us a little bit about the level of resolve and the determination of the opposition parties to ensure that there is an election, a free and fair election next year. Let's start from there.
If you look at the opposition party summit in Ibadan, which was organized barely within 4 days, because when the idea came up that, look, the opposition parties has not given Tinubu the desired vaccine. He needed at this point in time, because he has done the same to his predecessors in office. So we immediately sent informations around, and there were meetings of leaders of the political party across board. And within just 4 days, we were in Ibadan. If you look at the expectation, we were expecting only five delegates from each
so
of
the summit was planned in 4 days?
Just within 4 days.
Wow.
And we were expecting five delegates from each political party, but we ended up with a mammoth crowd, which even overwhelmed the capacity of the organizers. We had to deal with that. Now, if you look at how enthusiastic the opposition is and their commitment, you will know that the opposition is ready to ensure that democracy survives. What even amazes me most is the decision by the opposition to field a candidate against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That decision was debated, and almost all the front line aspirants were there, and none of them contested the decision, except everybody who came up will affirm his commitment that, look, this struggle is about Nigeria, not about individual interests. So we are prepared for a fight. We are even ahead of the Supreme Court. We're ahead of the Supreme Court. Either way it goes, Tinubu will have to contend with us. This, I want to assure you. So nobody should assume that, the decision from the Supreme Court, if it doesn't favor us, then there should be celebration in the camps of the opposition. No, not at all.
No, celebration in the camp of the
APC. But you see their behavior, how they monitored Ibadan summit, to the extent that immediately Sheyi mounted the rostrum.
That's the governor of
Oyo State. Before he could step down, they were already crying and shouting on top of their voices. Oh, he's calling for anarchy. Oh, he's calling for this. He's calling for that. That is the level to how threatened they are. With all the 31 governors, with all the monies from electricity tariff, with all the revenues from withdrawal of fuel subsidy, with all the trillions of borrowings, both external and internal, Tinubu is still not secure. He confirmed this when he said, I'm a very stubborn politician. They're trying to use insecurity. Anybody who uses strength to intimidate is a very weak person and is a coward.
Okay, so I like the energy, clearly, but I wanted to follow up, since you are also a chieftain of the ADC, how do you respond to some of the reports from the ruling party that you guys in ADC didn't do your due diligence? There were a lot of crises and court cases, and that you guys knew all about this. How do you respond to that?
Everything you see happening, we anticipated it. You see, the coalition took 18 months of internal consultation meetings, even nocturnal meetings, before we finally birthed into the ADC. There was 3 political parties considered, and when they fired their missiles to the 2 of the political parties, we behaved as if we had surrendered, then took ADC. But everything that is happening, we anticipated it. Because before we even concluded on the issue of this coalition, we commissioned a research of experts to do a diligent job as to the best way we can tackle Tinubu. And they submitted their report and their recommendations. And their recommendations included some of the things they are now doing. The issue of sponsoring people to try to distract the coalition, like what is happening. And then the issue of this, it's an internal fight, they cannot manage their affairs. No, we did due diligence in terms of the acquisition of ADC, because everything was subjected, to the test of legal experts and politicians. We even had to commission ICT experts to help us analyze elections in Nigeria from 1960 to 2023. How were the elections won? How were they lost? How were they rigged? And we had a recommendation from the expert as to what...
No, you said ICT expert. You don't mean information technology experts.
Why
did you choose them for the issue of...
Yes, because you see, the experience of 2023 had to do...
Okay, in terms of the glitch.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So that we don't deal with something strange. So we have mopped up that environment effectively. Whatever they anticipate as a trump card they are going to play, we have already gotten hint of it. So we're ahead of them, to be very honest.
Interesting. Okay. Now, I wanted to bring a bit of your own personal assessment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because you were also in the same party with him in 2015. I'm sure that you played a role in the campaign that led to 2015. What's your read of him as in terms of the views that he expressed, when he was in the opposition, compared to what is happening now? He says, and the APC says that, look, they don't owe you opposition people any help, but I wanted you to tell us your own personal observation of who the president is, that you knew him to be, when you were together in APC, and who he is now. Do you see any kind of evolution or difference?
I think my opinion is that of complete disappointment. The Tinubu I knew is completely an opposite of what I am seeing today and what is playing out. Of course, I had the misconception that the president was a Democrat, was somebody who loved young people, was somebody who even loved the country. Because looking at the type of energy he invested in 2015, I was convinced that, look, we now have parents who will midwife, a better future for us. But disappointingly, this was the same person who was a governor. He recruited the best brains around him. And this was what misled Nigerians, deceived Nigerians, to believe that if he is elected, he will replicate the same. Sadly, he now formed a government and over-bloated the cabinet of people who are predominantly incompetent. They have little or no knowledge about the country. They are people who avoid Nigerians. Most of these ministers have never been to their states except if they are sent on assignment. This wasn't the case with the Buhari government. We were always in our states every weekend because we knew that we owe the people a responsibility, having been supported, funded even by the poor, because Buhari's campaign was funded by the poor. they scratch cards, send in monies, liquidate their investment. And I even remember this old woman who was 90 in Kebbi, who gave us 1 million naira and said, if I do not live to see a better Nigeria, I have made a contribution for better Nigeria. So here we are. So for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, completely is that of disappointment. I knew him earlier than then because I'm Nadeko. We were young people who were sleeping under the bridges, taking instruction from leaders and students.
Such as?
Yes. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but he too was not so pronounced among our leaders. The great people, Ganifa, Iwemi, Adesanya, and the rest, even Fela himself. So, sadly, we now have somebody who had completely presented his real colors. That, look, he's a tyrant. Secondly, he doesn't believe in anybody except himself. Because if you look at Tinubu's achievement, he's the only person who had transformed, and his family. When he was campaigning, it's like he would not survive. Today, he's a very strong person, sometimes aided by the president of Turkey and the king of England. Today, his family are going around the country cooking food and sharing to Nigerians. Today, they have formed a political enterprise called the City Boys Movement, all revolving around them. And this is the same person who said, if I do not give you electricity. Unmetered electricity within 4 years, don't elect me again. It's the same person that went to Jos to hide in an airport and then ferried victims of terrorist attack to meet him, and he was insulting them, saying, I just have 10 minutes. Somebody who is grieving, you're going to tell him that I have 10 minutes to see you. So it's a complete disappointment for me. And this has created sort of an apprehension in me about this type of easy judgment I form about personalities.
Okay. I want to follow up on the reference that you made to the Plateau State issue, but I wanted to ask first, because you had also spoken about some members of the cabinet of the president. What do you make of the removal of Mr. Wale Edun, who is a long-time ally of the president, recently removed from finance?
Wale Edun was a misfit in Tinubu's government.
How?
He's a friend, I know him very well. He's a very good ally who can manage Tinubu's personal accounts. But Wale Edun is not somebody who could work with Tinubu in government, because he cannot tolerate the excesses and the overreaching of Tinubu's tendencies. And so he pretended to accommodate it, and it got to a point where he could no more pretend. His real person has to manifest. And of course, we have details of what transpired that led to whether his resignation or his removal. But we do know as a fact that everybody appointed by Tinubu must sign post-dated resignation letter before he will be appointed. All of them have the same thing. So when you want to misbehave, it is removed and shown to you. Just like what was done to the INEC chairman, and he had to behave himself to go and register ADC. So all of them are having that in the cupboard. So Wale Edun, I know him as a gentleman, and he's somebody who is also very humble. He keeps good relationships and company. Because when I was a minister, he visits me regularly as a friend. Because we work with him in the transition committee.
Okay.
Yeah, so he couldn't make the cabinet. Yeah. So I knew him.
Because you were on the transition committee.
Very good. I knew him very well. But the irony of power is that since his appointment, I tried to reach him calling, and he never picked my call. So I warned myself that, look, I will have to suspend this relationship until when he leaves the cabinet. It's unfortunate that great Nigerians like Wale Edun had to serve in this cabinet. I believe if he had served under Buhari, he would have made different he would have not ended up like this.
It's interesting, you know. Hopefully, if we have time, we would like you to also talk about the difference between the Buhari cabinet and the Tinubu cabinet. But let's talk about Plateau State. A few days ago, the president hosted quite a number of former governors and dignitaries from Plateau State, you know, and he even said that they're going to make about 2 billion naira available to help the victims and ask those leaders to solve the problem. What's your take of the whole handling of the Plateau crisis by the president? How do you view it? And that meeting that I held earlier this week in the villa.
He once again politicized security. Those stakeholders he brought are highly reputable and respected leaders of Plateau. But the stakeholders of Plateau are not limited only to members of APC. When you talk of stakeholders dealing with an issue like insecurity, you need to bring everybody on board. I didn't see young people there. And without young people, they had behaved like the way the Europeans behaved in 1885. They discussed the future of Africa without Africans. If they go there now to discuss a security blueprint, all of them are at the advanced ages. So those who are going to implement this blueprint were not there. So they have not been taken along. So how will they implement it? Secondly, they did not even, I didn't see quite a good number of Plateau women. We are blessed with, prominent women who are very active. Even in politics and social life, community life. Such people, we also need them. I didn't see the civil society there because the civil society had been at the forefront of the Plateau crisis. They have contributed enormously because once there is attack, they usually are the first
to respond.
Yes, to respond. I didn't see their representation there. I didn't even see the representation of communities like Fulani who are on the Plateau. Because we have Fulani, indigenous Fulani, that have been living on the Plateau for a very long time. We are looking for peace. We needed them. Because if we are having problems with some of their people, we needed those who are not involved to come and help us contribute. How do we solve this problem? We did this as young people in 2014. We have a generation that we grew up together and we maintain that compact relationship. So in 2010, when there was serious crisis and so many people were killed, blood was flowing like water, we called ourselves and said, look, we should come together. What's happening? And then we called a meeting. And those who organized the meeting did not call Muslims, members of our generation.
Okay.
So when we got there, I told them, I said, no. And they started leveling allegations. And I said, no, we all grew up together. We have been in the struggle for a better Plateau together with them. If there are changes now and things are happening that we do not understand, don't you think we should bring them and ask questions? So the meeting now rescheduled. We held another meeting and held it even in the bush. We invited and they came. All of them came.
Wow.
They took the risk of coming. We gathered in the bush, inside the mountain, in a valley, in a mountain, and asked ourselves question. Why are you people conspiring against us now?
Wow.
And when they gave their answers,
That was 2010.
2010, we looked stupid. They said, yes, if you are raising allegations of mercenaries, it is true, there are mercenaries. But if we report the mercenaries, to who do we go? And when we give the report, where do we go thereafter? Which is evidence that the good people are also now captives
among them.
Among these people. So even if they give you intelligence, yes, if they give intelligence,
they may be exposed.
Very good.
And they won't get protection.
So if you hold such a meeting and you did not invite them, what type of peace are you looking for? They are looking for graveyard peace. But with due respect, most of those people invited are highly respected elders in Plateau. But we needed a more inclusive, yes, across to be able to discuss the issue. And the time given to it was even not enough. It looks like the government is even not serious. Such a thing could have lasted for a day or two. Because the Plateau issue is older than every other crisis in this country.
Yeah.
It started in 2001 after Kaduna and had been lingering and changing dimensionally from crisis in the city to now killings of it went to harder farmers conflict.
Crashes.
From there it now metamorphosed into unknown gunmen. From the unknown gunmen now we are dealing with another dimension of terrorism that has changed in the last few months, because the attacks now are no more in the rural areas, but the terrorists drove with impunity into the city of Jos and killed people and left.
Interesting. Well, so in your view, I mean, it's a good thing that you yourself have served in federal cabinet 2015 to 2019. Why do you think this problem of insecurity is so persistent, generally in the country, especially in Plateau?
It's that of there is nothing more than two things: impunity and lack of political will. In Plateau, when it started, government used to set up commission of inquiry. We have about 4 to 5 reports.
Yeah, even much more. Yeah.
Yes, of those commissions. With recommendation and indictment, no single person has been punished. No single person has been prosecuted. I had even advised this governor that, look, now that some of these things have been abandoned over time, you need symbolic justice. Revisit all these reports. All those people indicted should also be prosecuted, and then you grant them amnesty and draw curtain and said, okay,
No more.
this is no more. We are not going to tolerate this from anybody again. But how do you explain this where somebody who killed my relations, who burned my village, a commission of inquiry indicted them, they are still moving freely?
Really?
And you expect me to be happy and live confidently in that type of society is one of the reasons. Secondly, the government had not addressed some of the root causes of this crisis. Government has not addressed it. There is communal component of the crisis, which government needed to have frontally tackled it. That has not been addressed. It has just been whitewashed. There is also the issue of poverty, hunger, and unemployment, where young people who are now unemployed for a very long time, graduates for so many years, now find criminality looking more appealing. Even when ordinarily, I mean, the culture of the Plateau people frown at such things. But because of the adverse effect of hunger, young people easily now go into it. So when you look at if you review the criminal pattern of what is happening in the Plateau, just like the last week in Langtang, 4 young men went and killed a traditional ruler and took his motorcycle. They were later arrested, and the people administered substantive justice, even though some people call it jungle, but to me it's substantive. They were administered substantive justice. They were interrogated publicly, and they admitted, oh, we killed, including a cousin of the traditional ruler. He led the people. These are not Fulani.
To attack the...
Yes, to kill the traditional ruler. These are not Fulani.
Interesting.
So you can see the dimension it is now taking. And they used arms. If they were not arrested, would have tempted to think that it was Fulani.
And the substantive justice, quote and unquote, which you speak well, is to do what? They kill them or what?
Well, no, the people, you see, in fact, they were taken, the traditional ruler, when they were arrested, they were taken to the paramount ruler.
Okay.
So the paramount ruler, after listening to them with the police, said the police should take them. So police were on their way. Suddenly, the Supreme Court of the people of instant justice sat immediately there. They just overwhelmed the police and told them, this your process is going to last for a very long time. This type of crime deserves instant justice. So we are conducting investigation here, a trial, conviction, and execution of the judgment.
Which is part of the problem that we have when impunity persists for long.
Very good, because people have lost confidence in the judicial system.
Wow.
So they overwhelmed the police, and the police were running for their dear lives because the crowd that enveloped from nowhere was more than even the entire police in the division.
Kai.
From nowhere. They just.
And this was recently.
Last week.
In
Langtang. It has been trending. So you can see how we are moving gradually. Very soon, indigenous elements will be involved in terrorism. They'll be involved in kidnapping because they are now going to kill because of motorcycle. So government has to deal with the issue of hunger, poverty, and unemployment. The youth, if not given attention, I assure you, one day this country will go on flames.
It's a very serious problem, Honorable Minister, because, you know, I'm sure, I mean, even the passion with which you report it, and of course, anybody that has a milk of human kindness, these things are very troubling, which is why I want to ask you this question. And it's a question that I keep on asking myself. Many of us joined the change movement in 2015, 2014, because we believed that Buhari can solve the security problem. How do you feel that that problem was left after 8 years, significantly, in my view? How do you feel, Honorable Minister?
I've been living with the ghost of my contribution in bringing Buhari's government, because I had the conviction that by now, Nigeria would have been competing with Dubai. So I invested almost every effort in it. But I realized that integrity alone is not enough. It's not enough to transform a society. Buhari has the integrity, which was what we went for.
A personal integrity.
Personal integrity.
Of himself.
Himself.
Because some of the people around him.
No. Himself alone cannot run a country. And majority of those who were around him, whom he depended on even to convey his instruction, were not people who believe in him. So Buhari's government was hijacked immediately after the declaration. Because
after the victory, you mean?
Yes, after he was declared
the winner,
the government was hijacked immediately. Because on the day he was declared winner, I was together with him in his office when President Jonathan called him. And we were together.
You were there?
Yes. So, and I usually see him 12 midnight then. So I went that day by 12 to see him, and I was blocked from entering the house. A house which
you have always been
there in this house of dread.
So who are the people that blocked you? Were they new faces who didn't know you before? The instructions changed.
I don't know whether there were new faces, but there were also old faces around. They reinforced the blockade. So I respected myself and warned myself that, look, something fundamental has happened. So I walked away. And I was walking away, I called somebody in Kaduna. And then that person, because I called the president, he couldn't pick. So I called somebody in Kaduna, and he called one of the people. And this happened in Abuja? In Abuja. I said on that day, he was declared in the night. So I called somebody in Kaduna, you were saying? Yeah, I called somebody in Kaduna. And that person in Kaduna now called one of the aides. So that one rushed and told the president what has happened. So Buhari now yelled at them and asked them, please, they should look for me. I was already on my way. Leaving. So they now called me, and I came back, I saw him. And he apologized. So from that day, I knew something fundamentally had happened, and it continues sequentially to when we even came to government, and it now replayed itself at a larger proportion, where even we that were very close to him were now seen as the people whom he did the favor to.
Correct.
Meanwhile, I had a personal relationship with him. I had a personal covenant with Buhari. I didn't look for Buhari. It was Buhari who picked his phone and called me and said, "Come." And I joined him. He said, "Come, let's do politics together. We think alike." And he said, "I know you very well. You have a very toxic mouth and you don't spare anybody. Please don't spare me." I will not spare Buhari even in death. Because we didn't de-covenant before he died.
Interesting. You know, I'll give a narration that supports what you just said, and then I'll ask you a final question. So, I have also heard the story. This also happened the day it was declared. As a matter of fact, the Secretary of State of the United States government, Senator John Kerry, wanted to put a call through to congratulate the just announced president. And the person who picked his phone, you know, this must have happened the same day you went there.
Yes.
The person who picked his phone was one of the people who later became the cabal from Borno State, whose name I will mention just so. And this person did not support the campaign. This person was actually reported several times to have said that the man cannot win. But when John Kerry called to say congratulations, this was the person that picked the phone, and like I said, eventually became a top-notch member of the cabal. So I wanted to ask you, in your comparison of what you experienced of the Buhari cabinet and what we are seeing of Tinubu cabinet, do you think there is a difference? Because yes, you know, I had your view about the removal of Edu. But if he fired a minister, Buhari didn't fire anybody really, except I think Maman in the second term. What is your assessment of the difference? Especially because I know that you yourself, you had issues with the cabal.
Well, I think Buhari should be canonized as a political saint. Because Buhari is very, very tolerant. In Buhari's first cabinet, we were 5. We could engage the president, confront him, and also do remind him too that, look, this was not what we promised Nigeria. And he will listen. And at the end of the day, if we have superior arguments, he will go with us. Yes, that was Buhari. Shitu, Kemi.
Yeah, that's Adebayo Shitu from
Adebayo Shitu,
who was the
Kemi Adebayo Ngege, Solomon Dalong, Audugbe. These were people that never gave Buhari a breathing space when issues are at stake. I remember one day, Shitu Adebayo took the president through memory lane, reminded him of how many times we contested election and lost, reminded him of the investment of the poor, and concluded with the question whether the poor were happy with us.
Was this the cabinet meeting or an informal meeting?
It's a cabinet meeting. All of us were still in cabinet. So, Buhari could tell. If it was Tinubu, many of us would have been sacked.
Okay, I see.
So, for Buhari, I think Buhari meant well. But unfortunately, meaning well is not enough. I cannot exonerate him because he campaigned to change this country. He might have done his best, but I mean the expectation and the impression he created to Nigerians is what is the problem. But Buhari is far, far, far better than Tinubu. Buhari can engage you and make a decision. It is implementation that the cabal will hijack. Buhari, you can meet Buhari with an issue. You will listen to it. If it's a proposal, he will approve. If he wants you to come and help him, he will say, this is your idea. Can you come in and help me? He will say yes. He will approve your appointment. But the cabal will change your name and put another person's name. How they do this is they always type such letters if it's 2 pages. The first page is where your name will be.
Yeah.
The second page is where the president will sign. So they will type page 1 into 2 copies.
2 different copies.
2 different copies. One containing the name of their own interest. So they will take it to the president. The president will sign. After signing, they will come back and attach their original interest.
But that's criminal.
They have committed treason even. Treasonable offenses.
Why did you think Buhari tolerated all of that?
You see, Buhari realized that he was a captive. One of the last time I saw him, we held a heart-to-heart discussion. At the end of the day, we were all in chairs.
Wow.
That was the last time I saw him. We were all in chairs. Because
he had left government this.
No.
Why was
he was still the president. We were all in chairs because we all agreed that we are failed Nigerians. And I told him, I said, look, sir, you need to do something. If you don't do anything, if you continue like this, the day you will leave office, when they call your name, Nigerians will start crying.
Wow.
Things are not well. When I analyzed insecurity to him, he said, was it as bad as that? I said, don't believe me. Mobilize brigade of guards tomorrow. I will follow you. Let's go to Dora by road. I assured you, bandit will open fire on us.
Wow.
6 months later, he went to Dora, and immediately he arrived at his house in Dora. 1 hour later, they kidnapped 300 students behind in his neighborhood local government. When his convoy was returning, they opened fire on. So Buhari is somebody who is a very good person, but his goodness can only be determined by the environment around him. He is like water. If you pour it in a calabash, he takes the form of a calabash. If you pour it in a cup, he takes the form of a cup. So he was unfortunate to have a very ambitious cabal that even, block everybody. Buhari loved his vice president very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay. But Osibanjo, an excellent gentleman. I think, may God bless him. That's what I was talking about.
Thank you so much. I would love to continue the conversation, but our time is fast spent. Thank you so much, Comrade Solomon Dalong, for coming to Inside Sources. Thank you for the voice that you represent, even in this current opposition movement. And thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
You're welcome.